This is Beyond the Big Screen podcast with your host, Steve Guerra.
Here is another Beyond the Big Screen teaser for episodes coming soon. I hope you enjoy and definitely tune in for future episodes. If you want to learn more, you can head over to beyondthebigscreen.com. You can also send me an email to steve@a2zhistorypage.com or follow us on social media by searching for A2Z History. I will see you next time beyond the big screen. That is interesting because I don't think many comic book heroes are immortal as such. Like, it's playing on that godlike figure of her.
Yeah, I mean, I think many comic book heroes are technically immortal, but the stories tend to be set in the present day of the readers who buy them. It's very unusual, I think, for a comic hero to go back in time and have an adventure. So what the filmmakers have done is to, for some reason, I have no idea why they chose the First World War, but clearly they thought this is a really good place for Wonder Woman to make her debut on film. It's odd. It's probably because of the centenary of the First World War itself. I can't think of another logical reason why they would choose this.
It's also kind of interesting that they've lived this idyllic male-free lifestyle. Those two probably go together quite well. They've lived that lifestyle for thousands of years, but then out of nowhere, they crack through the bubble. So that kind of trope is an interesting way to start the movie.
It is interesting, but if you think about it, the bubble is cracked by an aeroplane. And aeroplanes had really not been around for very long at the time of the First World War, so perhaps this was the only possibility of breaking this mythic bubble. Before that, there simply had not been the human technology to do so. Possibly an ancient Greek, very fast sailing vessel, possibly a 19th century steam vessel. They might have done it. But thinking about it logically, it makes perfect sense that it would have to be a flying machine to crash through the bubble to allow the real world in.
But really, for me, the key difference between Marvel and DC is that the Marvel heroes have a little bit more depth in terms of their characterization. So if you think about it, Clark Kent, Superman, he's just this chisel-jawed, do-gooder. Ditto with Wonder Woman. Batman has had this mythos of being a darker character grafted onto him really in the early 1980s. Whereas the Marvel characters always have some kind of fundamental flaw. Captain America is a man out of time. So the whole thing is after the Second World War, he gets frozen, then he's cryogenically reanimated in the comics in the 1960s and then in the movies in the 1990s. And he's slightly at odds with the America which he faces. Spider-Man is a teenager, can't even get a girl to go out and have a date with him, but he's fighting crime. Tony Stark, Iron Man, is an alcoholic, etc., etc. So the Marvel characters actually come in, with the exception of Captain America, really, in the early 1960s. And by that time, Stan Lee, who wrote all the early Marvel characters, introduces this fatal flaw, or this character defect, or this humanizing trait, whichever you want to talk about it.